Hey guys, so last night, the last few days, one of our dogs that lives here in the house, whose name is Rocky, he developed distemper, which is a horrendous and horrible virus. And we did everything we could. We nursed him, we had him on fluids, and he went on a specialised diet. And he began to have seizures last night. So I drove him to the tropical animal sanctuary and asked them to administer an injection that would make him go to sleep. And his brother still lives in the house with us. He was a very sweet dog, very big personality, very big personality. And it's heartbreaking. And we've had our tears and miss him dearly, miss him greeting us in the morning. He was a funny dog. He was one of the only dogs I ever had. You didn't have to put him. He didn't sleep inside our house. He slept inside the kennel outside our house. Because the house is only small and we already have two dogs in there. The kennel directly outside. He was one of the few dogs, the only dog I've ever had who would go to bed early by himself. He was only a pup and he would go to bed early all by himself. You'd look for him to put him to bed and he was already in bed. getting some sleep. He was very sweet. Like I say, a huge personality. He'll be sadly missed. And life here can be like that. It's very intense and there's a lot of death here. And we have death everywhere in the world. It's an inescapable and needed part of our lives. We must die, or how would we know we are alive? But it just seems to happen so much more frequently here. I, to the shame of myself, can't name all of the dogs that have died in my care. Predominantly, most have been young, like Rocky was, under 6 months or under a year, because that's the vulnerable state and stage for them. And sometimes it doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter what you do, vaccinations and whatever else. You can't save everybody here. And I always found death very difficult until an event in my life. And I've never spoken about this event because it's quite personal. But I don't believe we should hide things from one another. Things that have meaning and have beauty and can have an impact on another person's life should not be hidden. And I did this with my journey regarding depression. I hid it for a long while. I didn't feel comfortable speaking about it. When I finally did, some of the beautiful emails I got from people saying it had helped them made me realize that I should never do that. Now, I don't hide this for any other reason other than it's personal. However, I think it's okay to share about this event. So, when I was first in Tanzania, I struggled a lot. I found it very difficult to do most of what I was doing. I found the death difficult to deal with. I found the world in general here difficult to deal with. Everybody needed something from me. Nobody treated me with respect. Most people treated me like I was a walking stack of money. It was horrible. And I was lonely. But I knew God had a plan. And those things can still be a factor. Some people do not view you as a human being and just view you as a meal ticket, and it's frustrating, but I have empathy for the persons like that. But even educated persons will do it. Doctors and the like will sometimes treat you like a meal ticket in a developing country, as if you're some means to progress their lives and nothing else. But the most difficult part of it all was feeling alone here. And I often felt very, very alone. And of course that's been eradicated. I no longer sit in an empty house. The house I used to sit in that was empty, where my voice would echo and the silence was deafening, now has 28 special needs children in it. Because I stuck it out. I knew God had a plan. But something which really strengthened me was that whilst I was alone, one day a lady on Facebook contacted me, and her name is Leslie Fozzard, and she's in my Facebook friends list. And Leslie has a gift bestowed upon her by God where she can communicate with realms of energy that you and I can't always see. We might know are there, but we can't see them. And Leslie did not push anything on me. She left me her number and said, please call me. And I thought maybe she's someone who wants to make a donation. Back then I didn't really even have a website and stuff, so I thought, okay, I'll give her a call. So I called Leslie. And she said, I have a message for you from the other side, but I won't give you it unless you want it. So I said, wow, let me have a think about that, and I'll call you back. And I thought, well, this is very strange. This woman doesn't know me. And she'd stumbled across the Facebook page of what I was doing and been reading, and while she was reading, she got a feeling that she was supposed to communicate this message to me. So I called her back whilst I was sitting on the beach one day, and she said, I'm glad you called me when you're in nature. And she said, someone is here. And I said, who? She said, I don't know their name, but it's an elderly lady, and she's handing me a dry yellow rose. Now, when I was due to come to Tanzania, my trip was delayed. Could say I procrastinated, but I actually put the trip back because my grandmother was diagnosed with lung cancer, and she died a matter of months after that diagnosis. And I love her and I miss her dearly. And her words carry with me daily. I was left a card by her that said, you don't know how strong you are until strength is your only option. And she also wrote me a simple note saying, be strong for Nana. That's what I called her, Nana. And I hope that I honor those words in my daily life and how I live my life. Those words that she left me. But whilst my Nana was alive, my grandmother, as many would call it, but I say Nana from the northeast of England. Whilst my Nana was alive, I would take her yellow roses. Now this is a practice I don't partake in anymore. I won't give cut flowers to people, but that's another story. But my Nana, she loved yellow roses, so I would buy her a bunch of yellow roses when I was going to visit. Not every time, it's a bit expensive, but at least every month or few months I would take yellow roses for my Nana. And she loved them. She loved how they looked, she loved how they smelled. The week she was dying, I gave her a bunch of yellow roses, and she insisted on taking all of her breathing apparatus off. And she sat upright for the first time in a few days when I'd been with her, and she smelled the roses. And then she spoke with me some private words between ourselves. And 5 days later, she passed away. The family, and we told nobody about this, we all kept one of those roses and we dried them. And when my brother was married, one was present at his wedding. And above the bed where I sleep when I visit my parents, mine is framed. And everybody else took one, and nobody knew about it. But Leslie knew, because she has a gift. And that message strengthened me, and it was from God's allowance that she would find me, and that message would be passed to me. And I knew then that all the persons we love that pass away don't go far. And I also, for all I do believe that reincarnation is part of our cycle, I also know that when some of us are required to do other work on the other side, then we may remain close to or with access to our loved ones until that work is done. Here's the funny thing about that story, is a week later, Leslie called me and said, "Somebody's bothering me and wants you to know that they're around." Now, when I was in my early 20s, I moved to Spain. And I left my family home, and when I did, I left my family pet. And my dog Ben was given to me on my 6th birthday. I was, I think, 22, 23 when I went to Spain. And Ben had the body of an old man, but the mind of a puppy. And when I left for Spain, he took a leap from the bed in his stupidity and broke both of his hips. And he had to be put to sleep because he was in so much pain. And Leslie, with the miracle she is, called me to say, "There's a little dog and his back legs don't work, and he just wants you to know that he's around." And for all it hurts, whenever we lose someone, be they two-legged or four. And for all I miss Rocky a great deal today. And I'm heartbroken that he had to die the way he died. I know he's not far. I know that there's life. I know that death is just the beginning. So rest in peace for our little Rocky. And to anyone who's ever lost anybody. I know it hurts. God's shown me. He's shown me. It's not the end. Just a temporary inconvenience. emotional day. God bless.